Welcome back to Man Down Sports. As you can see from the thumbnail, man, we got a Reggie Miller topic, a LeBron James topic, and then you can see from the rundown, we got Paul Pierce, JJ Redick, Nikola Jokic, and some other stuff, man. It's gonna be a jam-packed, good show, man. Let me know who's all in the comment section, man. Sorry for being late. 4:30 is my usual time, but I knew I was gonna be a little bit late, man. Tried to get in here at 5, and then I had some stuff that happened, and I had to take care of that as well. But I'm here now, man. A little bit late, man. So hopefully we get everybody in here, man. When y'all come in, go ahead and hit that like button for sure. Also hit the share button, share this feed, leave some comments, let me know where y'all coming from, let me know who I got in here. Sofa King, I see you. Let me know if I got any moderators in here as well. Look, A, what's good? You look like you new. You might be new. Look, hey, you might be new. I don't think I seen you in here before, man. Where y'all joining from? Chris, what's up? Chris up in here, man. Hey, Chris, did you see Caitlin tonight, man? She got dogged out, man. The final score looked like she scored 20, but it wasn't that pretty. You know, man. I don't know how she got 20. I didn't watch the fourth quarter. I don't know how she got 20, but what's up, Mikey? I don't know how she got 20, but she had 10 turnovers. And the game plan for Caitlin was to push her to her right hand, because her natural shot that she like to take, that 3-point shot, is her going left and pulling up while she's going left, and that's most the natural shot for most right-handed people. They go left because when you're falling away, it's better to be using your right hand when you're falling away left versus going right and you try to fall away. Your left hand you're going to be leaning. So if you lean left, your right hand is already in a good position to shoot. But if you're going right, you can't hit that. You can't shoot that fall away. So they found that out when South Carolina was pushing her right all the game in that championship game, her last game in college. And it looked like everybody's going to be doing it in the league. They're going to be just push her right. So if she can't get to her left hand, she's not going to be able to get that step back three or that fall away three. Very interesting. But that's what I seen in that, man. That's another topic for another day, man. We got to get into some of this other stuff that's going on. Rolando Rivera, what's up, bro? From San Antonio. Oh, no, not San Antonio, San Pedro, California. I'm in Cali too. So this is not too late for you. It might be late for everybody East Coast, man. But West Coast, it's the sun is still up for us out here, man. So we're gonna get into it, man. This is gonna be a decent show. Call-in show for sure. Make sure y'all get ready for the call in and get y'all thoughts. But let's get started, man. So Reggie Miller, and we talked about this on Friday when we had the full panel show. That more and more people are coming out and saying, their truths about LeBron James. Like a lot of people in the media is like Kendrick Perkins being honest about LeBron James. Mike Wilborn. And he was a LeBron James jock strap sniffer. So it was very shocking to hear him go off on LeBron like that. But who else came after him? Byron Scott came on ESPN, made a guest appearance just so he can say something about LeBron James. Everybody, and I think what really triggered it for real is this Darvin Ham firing. Like they really thought Darvin Ham was a good coach and a good guy and didn't deserve the treatment that he got in LA. But it seems like everyone gets that treatment around LeBron, especially in LA when things don't go good. Yeah, Rick Bucher as well. He went off on him. But it seemed like everyone's getting treatment like that. Westbrook got that treatment. Darvin Ham got that treatment. Before Anthony Davis got there, every young player that was trade bait, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, they all got that treatment. It's like, it's when you're around him, if it ain't going well, I just don't know where these attacks come from. Like I don't know where this beehive of LeBron fans come from. That just you really get. I mean, it's media members, it's fans, it's Clutch Sports. It's so many people coming from so many different angles. When you're around LeBron, when you play with LeBron, when you coach LeBron, any of those things, right? If D'Angelo Russell is getting it as well, like Anthony Davis get it if he don't play enough games or he don't score 30 or 40, like you have to be perfect or else so many people are going to come at you. And that's what Kevin Durant was talking about years ago when he said, man, it's toxic around LeBron. And LeBron, he took issue with that, but Kevin Durant explained it's like, I'm not saying it's you. This thing that's around you, man, that's a lot for a player, especially a young player. I mean, that's a lot. Like, it's too much, man. So, but now you're starting to see people actually be honest about this stuff, man. So I want to get into what this whole thing with Reggie Miller, because it took a whole full turn from start to finish. It's a couple of clips. I want to start with Anthony Edwards when they first lost their first game to Denver, and when he went to the podium and immediately took all the blame for it. This is what he said.
It's on me. I'll take the blame for this loss. I came out with no energy at all. I came out flat, so and I can't afford to do that for my team. I let my team and my coaches down, fans down. So I'll be ready Sunday. I like the fact that they punched tonight. We didn't punch back, and that's the thing about that. That's fun. Like, you love to compete, so it should be very competitive Sunday, and we're going to be here for it.
So that's what Anthony Edwards said. It was all on him. People was trying to give him an out. People was trying to name names. They would say stuff about Anthony Towns. They would say something about Gobert, just to see if they could get him to say something that they could run with. And each time he took the high road and said, look, me as the leader, whatever goes wrong, it has to be on me every single time. Like, I can't do enough. Like, the way we have everything structured, we should win or we should play well. If we don't, that goes on me as the leader on the floor. And if anyone else gets a little bit of that blame, you could maybe say the coach, because he's the other leader, or he's actually the leader. Then you got your leader on the floor, which is your star or your superstar, and then possibly your co-star. But what superstar would let blame get to their co-star? Or what superstar would let blame get to his coach? That's not what's supposed to happen. And imagine something going wrong with the country and the president blames the vice president, or the president blames the citizens that voted him in. Like, you can't escape blame when you're the guy who's the leader, right? Especially the fact if everything goes right, you're going to be the one who gets most of the praise. I don't remember the last time LeBron won and someone other than him got most of the praise. I mean, you can't think of a coach that has got praise for winning with LeBron. It's all been LeBron. You can't think of a co-star that really got praise other than LeBron. Kyrie Irving hitting the shot still didn't get that much praise. People still say he can't win without LeBron. Wade won before LeBron got there, but all the wins that happened with LeBron, they still put it all on LeBron. We don't see Wade get a lot of credit for that, especially not Bosh, especially not Ray Allen. Like, you don't see that. And then in the bubble, you win in LA. I didn't see Dwight getting a lot of credit for guarding Jokic and shutting him down. I didn't see Anthony Davis getting a lot of credit for playing lights out and leading them in scoring. It was all LeBron getting the credit. They didn't even give the coach credit. They fired him like it wasn't nothing, right? So that's the difference between the leader, and everybody praised Edwards for doing it because it's so rare, because for 21 years, the face of the league has not been doing it. The face of the league for 21 years has not been doing it. So here's what Reggie said during a live, this is a live game, and he was saying something nice about Anthony Edwards, but he went a step further.
We've got certain guys, veteran status in our game, that are on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore that like to deflect and point fingers at others. Here's a 22-year-old saying, this is on me, it's my fault.
He said, here's a 22-year-old who said it's on me, it's my fault. He was impressed by that, but he also said, we have current players that's on some people's Mount Rushmore. So if we stop right there, who are we thinking about? I mean, it's obvious he's talking about LeBron, right? Who else is on players Mount Rushmore that's playing right now? It's really just LeBron, but if you really want to take a yoga stretch, you could say you could say KD, you could say Steph, and then stop there. There's nobody else on the Mount. But I don't even think they're on the Mount Rushmore. I don't even think LeBron's on the Mount Rushmore, but a lot of people has him there. And my Mount Rushmore is going to be definitely Mike, definitely Kareem. You might can have Wilt there. You might can have Bill Russell there. That's my Mount Rushmore, right? But I think Mount Rushmore is a lot different than a GOAT list. That's not. I don't think Mount Rushmore and a GOAT list is the same thing, because Mount Rushmore is just like, when you think about the foundation of basketball, what are you thinking about? Because if you look at Mount Rushmore now, those presidents that's on there, those leaders that's on there, they're not taking those heads off and putting new heads on there. You get what I'm saying? Like you can't. That it's been great people after them. We're not creating and replacing the heads that's on Mount Rushmore. So Mount Rushmore is something that was established, and it's it's gonna be basically the foundation of the NBA, and then that's gonna be etched in stone forever. We don't change those out. So that's different from a GOAT list. Mount Rushmore can't ever be changed. Once you get those 4 on there, I think Mike is there. I think Kareem is there. I think Wilt is there, and Bill Russell. But some people might have Magic and Bird there, But either way it goes, after you got those 4, after the 90s was over, and then be honest, if you really look at it that way, Michael Jordan might not even be on the Rushmore. It might just be Magic, Bird, Russell, and Kareem, or Magic, Bird, Russell, Wilt. That could be it. That's my opinion. But that's a whole caveat, right? Back to Reggie Miller saying that people on the Mount Rushmore, LeBron James, right, are not taking accountability like that. They're projecting. Let me play it again.
We've got certain guys, veteran status in our game, that are on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore that like to deflect and point fingers at others. Here's a 22-year-old saying, "This is on me. It's my fault."
Yeah, point fingers and deflect. That's LeBron James. He does that like no other superstar I've ever seen in any league, right? He does that a lot, and he has a media that does it for him, and he has a agency that does it for him, right? And he has fans that does it for him. That's his trademark, right? So we know who Reggie was talking about, right? But of course, LeBron James media didn't like that, and the leader of LeBron James media is either gonna be Shannon Sharp or Nick Wright. Nick Wright had some things to say.
Okay, I don't even know. All
right, Brew.
Kareem.
I sat here and I dealt with the total fiction that Reggie and his partners were peddling about him owning MSG. And I was like, people don't even want to relitigate the 90s. But if I may for a moment, did you know Reggie Miller, the building he has his worst career record is MSG? Did you know that he was a career 13-39 on the road against the Knicks? Did you know that in the playoffs he won a total of 6 games against the Knicks and MSG? I let the whole thing just let it lie. It was 30 years ago. Let him create all of his own narratives that he wants. That's fine. But now, when I think definitively he is calling out LeBron James.
Oh, that's who it is.
No.
This is.
I was wondering until he said Mount Rushmore. What'd you say?
He
Mount
gave
Rushmore?
himself, with the veteran status, he gave himself an out. But when he says active players on a lot of people's Mount Rushmores, I guess I would ask Mike, you know what? I'll look into the camera and make the request to my dear friend Dan Patrick, who has Reggie on the show all the time. Oh, yeah. And Dan is as good of an interviewer as there is in media. Make Reggie tell you who he's talking about. There was 2 options, Steph or LeBron. Steph or LeBron. They're the only 2 active players that are on anyone's Mount Rushmore. And that's it. We, by the way, we know it's LeBron he's talking about, but make him tell you.
I mean, he will probably. I bet you he throws Durant in the mix if he even throws.
Durant's on no one's Mount Rushmore.
I know, but
whoever it is,
maybe it's the Mount Rushmore bag.
I would
the bag.
Bro, I think this is wildly unfair to LeBron. Wildly unfair. I also think it is incredibly cowardly by Reggie. Coward.
Name the name.
Because, and if he's pressed on it, I almost guarantee you he'll say, I didn't say Lebron. I agree. So I find it outrageous. Outrageous.
Yeah.
Lay said Nick is trying to get swallowed up. Swallow. Have you ever been swallowed up? Yeah, but this is a good point that's on the screen right here, man. Trash and Reggie Miller don't make don't make what he said any not. It don't make it not true, right? You know, he is trying to deflect blame. So I think Nick Wright should address that instead of trying to come for Reggie Miller. But he made a good point. Reggie Miller didn't say his name. And he said, hey, man, Dan Patrick, you interview Reggie Miller all the time. Ask him who he's talking about. And that's exactly what Dan Patrick did about 7 hours ago when Reggie was on his show. And I was very disappointed in Reggie Miller because he did exactly what Chris Broussard said he was going to say. They said that once they put the mic in his face and asked him who they was going to be talking or who he was talking about, he was going to try to say in general or not say no names, and that's exactly what he did. I was very disappointed, man. Look at how he moonwalked, man. I heard Billie Jean was the best song to moonwalk to. I should have played Billie Jean in the background for this.
Who are you taking a shot at?
I'm taking a shot in general. I'm trying to give credit and creed to a 20-year-old, 22-year-old, because I want to put myself in his shoes, right? And I remember when I was 21, 22, I don't know if I could have gotten in front of a camera with the world watching and said, this is on me. And I know a lot of people want to think and assume it's LeBron I'm taking shots at because, look, I've been in those locker rooms when certain veterans shy away from that. And it's quick to always pile on LeBron. If it was LeBron, I would have said LeBron James.
But you said current players Mount Rushmore. So you
just assume it's LeBron?
Well, who else is it going to be?
Well,
it could only be KD or Steph. Those are the only possible guys who could be on the current Mount Rushmore.
It's more so.
But you gave Ant-Man credit, which I'm fine with. You just brought in another portion when you said the current Mount Rushmore.
Well, I've seen a lot of guys deflect those criticisms when here's a 22-year-old stepping up, taking responsibility. So you could take it either way you want. Is it a shot at LeBron? Absolutely not, because I've seen him do the same thing Ant-Man has done too.
Okay, is there a player in your head then, if you say it's not LeBron? Because you know what? You did say this about the coaches got fired, but the players either last week or the week before. So you were saying that you got coaches fired in Phoenix and Los Angeles where players maybe didn't take the blame.
No, what I said was the coaches, unfortunately, are always the first to go because the players have guaranteed contracts.
Yes.
So coaches are always the first to go.
Reggie didn't want that smoke, man. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that we all knew who he was talking about. We wanted him to say a name, and he didn't want that smoke. And I don't know if that was just him being a coward like Nick and Broussard said, or if it was him saying, look, man, I still work for the NBA. You know, maybe somebody got in his ear and told him to walk it back or whatever, or soften the blow up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe LeBron or his people call him directly. I don't know. But I don't like the backpedaling. I don't like the moonwalking. I usually don't moonwalk unless music is playing, and there was no music playing, and he was just moonwalking like he was Michael Jackson for sure. So that's all I had to say about it, man. You know, that was the rundown. Reggie Miller said that LeBron James point fingers and deflect, and that's what he does. Then he started to take it back. I don't like to take it back, but I'm gonna put the phone number up for y'all to call in. I want to hear what y'all think. What's your opinions on it? Do you think he was actually really talking about LeBron James? And if so, do you agree with him walking it back and not putting a name to it when he was he said, please open the phone line up. The phone line is on the screen. Look, hey man, so y'all can call in. I want to hear what y'all think. And we'll go from there, man. But call in quick though. Funky Town from Texas. What's up?
What's up, brother, man? How you doing this evening?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm making it, bro. I'm making it. No, I'm with you on that. I mean, he told the truth at the beginning. And then what happened is, I think, like you said, somebody got in his ear, or he's thinking about what's going on because, you know, this thing going on with Turner might not be getting, you know, the next contract. They might be, you know, he might be left out in the cold or whatever. And he's thinking, of his future or whatever. But yeah, he kind of punked out instead of just staying 10 toes down on what he said. Because what he said initially was correct. I mean, you know, I've said it before. LeBron is passive aggressive as hell. He doesn't take responsibility. You know, saying he wins or you lose. There's no other way for him to do things, and he doesn't accept responsibility. So, I mean, it's bad that he made a bold statement that's true, but he didn't defend it. He didn't just say, okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So you think number one, he was definitely talking about LeBron.
Absolutely.
And then you also think that
I mean, when you put everything together, brother, there's nobody else. Like if you take all the, you know, do a little Sherlock Holmes, if you Mount Rushmore, and all, you know, all the things, all the characteristics he put up on how they behave, and on some people's Mount Rushmore, which if you go back and look at who he talks about, who he, you know, where he places Bron, I don't think he even has been in his top 5. So yeah, it's him.
Okay, and you think he's accurate in saying that?
Absolutely. Like I mean, again, it's disappointing that again whatever pressure got to him, or like you said, not wanting that smoke. But the truth of the matter is that there's no other. I mean, you know that Durant is he got his own issues when it comes to, you know, doing the stuff to them, you know, burner accounts and all of this stuff. But when it comes to, you know, all this narrative is coming out about Cam right now. You know, a lot of the I've seen some of these jokers call themselves analysts talking about, you know, his rotations he was making at certain time periods in this year. But if you look at it, I believe what he was doing was trying to find out who he could count on when LeBron and AD were going to have those off days for their whatever management stuff. And if you look at their record when LeBron didn't play, what's the record when LeBron didn't play?
It wasn't bad. It was they played well.
Better.
Yeah,
exactly. It was above 500. So you got the so-called some people's king or whatever. You got them. You got him out, and you win it. I think they won against the Celtics. I mean, they it wasn't a lot of, you know, it wasn't always easy. All I'm saying is I think that Ham had he wasn't looking for the actual game they were looking at.
Right.
They were playing so much as he was trying to find, okay, what's going to work when I don't have access to, you know, you already know AD's got a bad rap when it comes to injuries and staying healthy throughout the year. So I believe he was like, okay, so who can I count on? What matchups are going to work together, go mesh together when these dudes aren't available? That would be my personal. But you look at these jokers on YouTube talking, oh, his rotations with this and that. Man, there's reasons why he was doing that.
Yeah,
he's trying to develop. He's trying to develop people in the case of you got to break glass, you got an emergency. And well, but yeah, he was Ricky was talking about.
Yeah,
and he just should have stayed down. He should have stayed on what he was talking about. He just stood his ground. What are you thinking though? I mean, what are you thinking?
Nah, I mean, I said everything. I think Reggie was you know, I think a lot of people are saying what they feel. I mean, because you can be programmed a little bit, you know, to say what you're supposed to say a lot of times, but
right.
every now and then you'll slip up and say what you really feel. And that was one of those one of those moments for Reggie. He said what he really felt, and you could tell that came from the heart. And
exactly.
and now he's back. Now he's back being an employee and trying to say the politically correct thing.
Thank you.
And it's not coming from his heart. And he's very uncomfortable.
Let the truth come out his mouth.
Yeah, for sure.
Mess around, let the truth come out his mouth.
Yeah. But all right, man.
Hey, great show, man.
All right, thank you. Stick around.
Hit that light.
All right. Good call. Hey, so B-Dub said, what do you think about LeBron's son getting a free ride to the NBA? I think it's dope. I ain't got no problem with it because for one, he can play. It ain't like you getting someone to the league that's trash. I remember when George Carr's son, his name was Cody Carr. I was rooting for him because I used to like George Carr. And I kind of like Cody Carr game a little bit as well. He was kind of like a guy that he kind of put you in the mind of like Bill Walton, but he was a point guard. You remember Bill Walton's son? Energy guy. He'll hustle. He'll take charges. All that stuff. But Cody Carr was a point guard. I remember they tried to get that man a chance, and he wasn't that good. And to be honest with you, I think it was the Lakers. I think it was the Lakers that he went to. But I like Cody Carr, but he wasn't that good. But he got in there because his dad was in there. It happens. Walton Jr. got in there because his dad in there. Walton Jr. wasn't that good. He got in there because his dad, man. It happens, right? But actually, LeBron's son actually is a great athlete. He can shoot the ball. He can shoot the lights out of the ball. He can jump out the gym. He's a great defender, and he's a good kid. He's not getting in no trouble. Those are the type of guys that need those extra pushes because of their name. I don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean? Now, if it was some kid that beat his girlfriend and had a gun charge and all this stuff, and then already got in trouble in school 5-6 times. Nah, don't get that kid no extra help. So for Bronny, he's too good of a kid for me to have an issue with Bronny getting that free ride. He needs that, but it ain't really a free ride because he can actually play. He can actually play. He's just getting extra attention. Now, ain't no team gonna waste no draft pick on somebody that can't play, but he's just getting extra attention because of his name. If he don't come in the league and work hard and do what he's supposed to do, he won't be in the league long, just like Cody Carr wasn't in the league long. 1 year, maybe 2, and he's out of there. So you can get invited to the dance, right? You can get invited to the dance just because your name or some clout or something like that. But once you get to the dance, if you ain't got no moves, ain't nobody gonna ask you to dance. Right. And that's the deal. And I ain't got no problem with that man getting a shot at the league, man. Roland Curtis, what's up?
So Mel, yeah, man. I definitely think that it was LeBron James who Reggie Miller was talking about. But man, you said something that's almost bigger than any topic. Because I've never heard anybody say that the Mount Rushmore was different from the GOAT list. And when you said that, that prompted me to look up a little bit about Mount Rushmore because I never even looked it up. So one person chose all four presidents, and he chose them because he believed they represented the 4 most important events in American history. So you're right. So definitely nobody in the league right now would represent an important event in league history. I think that Jordan being drafted might be, if not, it might be one of the most important events in American sports history. Definitely one of the most important NBA events ever. Can you think of 3 other events or 4 events that you think would qualify for the most important events in NBA history?
Yeah, I mean, you got to go with Bill Russell and what the Celtics meant to the beginning of the NBA. You got to go to Wilt's 100 points.
Yeah,
right.
About that.
You got to go to Magic and Bird actually taking the league from death to life, right?
Okay.
So Magic, Bird, Wilt, and Russell, hands down. I mean, it's very hard to argue them as the Mount Rushmore. Very hard.
I see what you're saying because they came before. So Mike would probably be the 5th one if there were 5 heads.
Correct.
Maybe.
Correct.
Okay.
And Mike, or maybe Kareem, right? But after that, it stops. There's nobody even. So it might be 6 guys in the conversation for Mount Rushmore, and after that, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? So but yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that if there could be somebody who would represent the merger between the NBA or whatever NBL or whatever it's called,
Dr. J.
NBA.
Yeah, it'd be Dr. J.
Dr. J. Right. That'd be yeah. So it's just so many people who are part of the important events of the league. But as far as the current players, LeBron, KD, Steph Curry, I can't see what you would call this like the 2020s. I can't see who would call it an important event. This is kind of just building on what came before it. But yeah, man, I just leave you with that. I'd just say he was definitely talking about LeBron James. There's nobody even close to an important event. I mean, I guess you could say LeBron. He's really, with his comments, he stroked this whole GOAT thing. People are upset that we can't talk about sports without this GOAT thing. And even though there were players before LeBron who could have put their name out there, like a Kobe Bryant, like a Anthony and Grant when they were healthy, like a Shaq in his prime, and other players, Kareem, They could have said, I'm chasing the ghost in Chicago. I want to be the GOAT. And I think this whole GOAT thing would have started a long time ago, but because LeBron did it, and I guess people are going to say the player empowerment thing, they might say that's also an important event too. So I guess, LeBron, what do you think? You think you could probably throw those two things in there for LeBron, can't you?
No.
I mean,
no.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of forced it in as like this is what LeBron has contributed to the game. Before it was always the executives who would make these decisions of where players go. It was LeBron who I think it was bad for the game, but it did kind of start something, and then the whole, like I said, the whole GOAT thing, which I thought was, was very disrespectful to the people in the past. And I'm glad other players like Jordan and others refused to throw themselves in there like that.
Yeah.
But because LeBron did it, we're talking about this at the barbershop. Even though LeBron he fell out of the GOAT conversation because he's put this on sports in a way. It's like you can't go anywhere. People are so upset that you can't go anywhere without talking about the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time.
Yeah. I can't give. I mean, if you wanted to make a reverse Mount Rushmore, if Mount Rushmore was standing like this, right, straight up, and then it was a Mount Rushmore under the surface of the earth. It was upside down like that. Then that would we would probably put LeBron on Neltwin because Team USA died on LeBron's watch. Defense died. Analytics was birthed. The post game died. Positions died. The NBA basically died. So if we would have to put people on the reverse Mount Rushmore that was inverted under the ground upside down, LeBron would be the first one on that one. But yeah, man, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yep. I take one more call. Bernard Kemp with this comment. So it's okay for LeBron signed to take job from somebody that actually deserves the job. Yes, whoever deserves the job that's competing for that position against LeBron, is their fault that LeBron's not their dad. Bronny gets it. I mean, it is what it is. Life ain't fair. You get what I'm saying? Life is not fair. Like, that's LeBron's son, Bronny, deserves it as well. So if we're competing and we go to the combine and we play the same position and it's your job to outdo me so much that you have to choose me. Right. But if you do equal amount of work as Bronny does, then why wouldn't the owner of the Lakers or the GM of the Lakers take Bronny when they know they want LeBron to stay there? LeBron wants his son on the team. So you get what I'm saying? Like that's LeBron just leveraging himself. LeBron's not your dad. I feel sorry for you. I'm sorry. That's just like me saying, so I deserve to be in the NBA, but I'm only 5'10". If I was 6'4", then I should be in there. Oh, okay. Well, you should have been 6'4". I'm sorry. Figure something else out to do. Go to another team. It's 30 of them. Right? So, hey, man, there's only one spot. Bronny, go get it. Sorry for you. You don't want to be on that team anyway if you play point guard. Hey, caller from Florida, what's up?
On, man. I'm Little A in the comments. I'm not new. I actually been on your show before on the phone call.
Oh, for real? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. Just when it comes to the Reggie Miller thing, like I was saying, that boy Nick was swallowing. I've never seen that before. Like, what in the world? Like, he just started, your Knicks record again. I'm like, when did the Knicks come in this situation? What are we talking about right now?
Yeah.
Like, why are you defending somebody? Like, I've never heard LeBron even speak Nick's name before. So why are you going this hard for this man? Like, that's insane.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's true. Like, I don't know why Reggie Miller kind of backed off when they're asking, who are you talking about? Reggie, you should have just said LeBron. Like, you could add KD if you wanted to, but you could have just said LeBron.
Right.
Like, come on now. And plus, he's going out the league, so you don't have to worry. At least I wouldn't really worry about losing your job or whatever, because you got someone like Anthony Edwards, Jokic, Wembanyama. Like, we got new faces that are going to, revamp the league again. Because, like you were saying before, on the chat when you're saying the post game has died, the positions have died. all that. Yeah, all of that died. Everything is just drive and kick. And then if you hit the shot, you're the best. If you don't hit the shot, then you're just trash.
Yeah.
So
and then the crazy thing about that little A with the drive and kick game is we know if it's gonna be drive and kick and you're shooting a lot of threes, we know 3-point shots, if you miss them, turn into long rebounds. So that means the guys that are getting 8, 9, and 10 rebounds, like the wing players, the guards like Westbrook, Harden, Luka, someone that didn't watch 90s basketball is going to see that Luka gets 9 rebounds a game and think he's a great rebounder, like someone like Rodman or Dwight Howard.
I was just about to say that, like, oh, he can out rebound Rodman.
No, you get what I'm saying? So, but if you ever look at Rodman's rebounds, he battled for almost all of them. Like he battled like Shaq, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, Karl Malone. He was battling guys like Elijah. He battled guys like that in the paint for rebounds that fell in the paint.
6'7".
Right? You get what I'm saying? But Luka is getting 8 rebounds that are bouncing all the way outside the paint. And the reason why he's in good position to get them is because he's never guarding the guy that's taking the shot because he can't play defense. So his reward for being a bad defender is he gets to grab uncontested rebounds outside the paint.
And hold the ball for at least 40 minutes a game.
Exactly. So I mean,
with someone like Kyrie on your team, which is crazy, bro.
Crazy. And we're gonna talk about him later, man, because he getting the freaking business by Lou Dort. And if it wasn't for them giving Lou Dort 2 fouls every first quarter, it'd be a lot worse, man. That dude had, I think he only had 18 points last night. Lou Dort is in that man's back pocket all game, man, and he don't care. They give him 2 fouls, he still play him tough. You know, he's pretty much telling them, I know y'all trying to get me off of him by giving me these fouls, but I'm gonna force you to foul me out in the first half. So it make it obvious to everybody what y'all doing. Foul me out because I'm not getting off him. I'm gonna play him. I'm gonna play him tough, man. So I appreciate Lou Dort for that, man. But we're gonna talk about that later. Appreciate the call.
All right. Well, man, enjoy the show. I enjoyed the show, man. You got a really good show going on. Continue it, keep going, stay up. I'll be there for full Friday.
For sure, man. I appreciate it. Yep. All right. Let's move topics, man. That was what's up, Christian Woods? Was good. Poor Donovan Mitchell, man. Yeah. He go. Is he gonna miss the next game too? Yeah, I think Nick Wright is managed by Clutch Sports. All right, so we'll get to this next topic, man. So this one's kind of funny, right? And I did a show like this last year, right? And Paul Pierce pretty much did a Stephen A. Smith. And why do I call it a Stephen A. Smith? Because Stephen A. Smith did it before him, and Stephen A. Smith did it better and funnier, right? And what am I talking about? Paul Pierce on national TV on Undisputed slipped up and said the N-word, man. I think he called Jalen Brunson. I think he called Jalen Brunson the N-word, right? And it's really funny, man. I'm gonna let y'all hear how he said it. Now, if you try to go search for this, I think Fox Sports, has took down the clip. Like if you want to watch the full clip in context, I think they took it down. You're not gonna be able to find it. But there are some people who uploaded the short who might have recorded it on their TV and has put it back on YouTube. So you can find it, but you can only find like the 10 to 15 seconds of it. You can't find the full clip so you can hear, how it started and how it ended, right? But it was very hilarious, man, to see Skip Bayless and Keyshawn Johnson try to stay professional and keep it moving, hoping that nobody heard what he said, which is the same thing that happened when Stephen A. Smith said it. The crazy thing about Stephen A. Smith is that when he said it, it had been his 3rd time saying it, right? So the first time he said it, I can't find that footage anywhere, but there's articles. People had wrote articles about it. So the articles exist of Stephen A. Smith slipping up and saying it, but you can't find the audio nowhere. But there is one clip of him saying it the 3rd time when he was talking about Deshaun Watson last year, right? And I did an episode on that. I'm going to play for you first what Paul Pierce said, and I'm gonna play for you what Stephen A. Smith said. We'll talk about it.
Okay, I don't even know.
Games. Look at this nigga Key.
DiVincenzo was averaging 29 points per game.
That's the only thing you can find on it, man. Like 10 seconds of it, right? But he listen, I'm playing it again.
Games. Look at this nigga Key. DiVincenzo was averaging 29 points per game.
Oh man, and then here's Stephen A.
And you ain't won since the 60s. And the only championship you get to look at in any sport is LeBron. And how he erased the 52-year-old curse on the city and the local areas for half a century. I mean, that nigga, look, man, I mean, we ain't gonna find too many.
What's up with all these brothers daggone slipping up, man? Like they get all into it, and they supposed to be trained professionals, man. They get all into it, and they can't keep the N-word out of it. I think I can even do that. I think I can do it. I've trained myself not to curse as much and not to say the N-word and stuff like that. And I usually can do it. If I do say it, it's because I wanted to say it. But I don't think I slip up like that. But let's talk about it anyway. Is it that bad? Because when Stephen A. Smith said it, you know, there was a little bit of backlash, but he came out and was able to smooth it over by saying he said something else, right? So he smoothed it over. So no one, it's not even on the record that he said the N-word, even though we just heard him say it. It's not even on record like that. Oh man, that's not what I said. I said this, right? I don't know if Fox Sports or Undisputed or Paul Pierce have came out and said anything yet. But it's there. He said it, right? He slipped up and said it. What's going to happen? Nothing happened to Stephen A. Smith because he was able to say that's not what I actually said, so he didn't get suspended or anything. Plus, I don't think the N-word is that big of a deal, unless someone that's not black says it, which is funny because it's still a derogatory term, and it's not synonymous with black. Now it has a history with it. There's a history with that word where black slaves and black people in general after slavery was called that on the regular. So there's some racial component to it where we don't like to hear it from our white counterparts because it reminds us of that history, right? But the word in itself doesn't mean a black person or nothing like that. It just mean an ignorant person, right? So the fact that it's okay to say, like right now on YouTube, I probably could say the N-word all throughout my podcast and I won't get flagged for it. But it's certain things I can't say, right? I can't say I can't say the K word that means to unalive someone, to make a person stop existing. If I say that K word, YouTube flagged it, right? If I say, the F word, which is a word that's derogatory to a person that's part of the LGBT community, YouTube will flag that, right? But you can say the N word with no problem. Like I can say it 10 times through this podcast if I wanted to, which is weird to me. I wonder why that is. But for him to say it on a network like Fox Sports, on the Undisputed show, on the sports show, for him to slip up and say it, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people calling the show saying, how did you allow this to happen? Right. But there will be people in other communities. Like I said, LGBT community, if you say something that they don't like, you have, you would have, hold on, what happened? No, don't worry about it. You have a lot of people calling the show and protesting the show, and they would have to do something about it. I remember when Stephen A. Smith, even when I did that show, what Stephen A. Smith said that nothing happened from it, and I was like, that's odd, nothing happened, because I remember when he said something about women, and I think he was going through the Ray Rice situation. He was talking about the Ray Rice thing, and he mentioned that, what Ray Rice did was wrong. However, a woman doesn't have any business putting her hands on the man either. And he got suspended for that and had to come back on the show and apologize because so many people in different groups, including the women demographic, including the people that work with him, the women that work with him, was like, oh no, he's not, he can't say that, right? He can't say that. So he had to apologize for that. Almost lost his job. He also said something against the Asian community when I think he was talking about a baseball player, and he said something that they didn't like. And the Asian community came at ESPN, and he had to come on in and apologize. But when it comes to the black demographic, when he said the N-word, nobody came for his job, and rightfully so. And also, when he offended a whole continent of Africans, when the African basketball team beat the USA team in the Olympics, and Stephen A. Smith went off on ESPN. How the hell did you lose to Africa or whatever? I don't know what country it was, but I can't remember what country it was, but he just kept calling them Africans, right? And then he started pronouncing their names wrong on purpose. How do you lose the whatever, just throwing names out there and just pronouncing them wrong on purpose, man? And he thought that was funny. And nobody came and forced him to apologize. And there were people from that continent and from that country who had issue with it and would say things publicly that they had issue with it, but ESPN did not care. Right. So that's all I wanted to say about that. I just find it odd. You can slip up and say that word. Now, I don't think nothing's going to happen to Paul Pierce. I don't think no one's going to call for his job. I just think it's a disparity when you offend or when you say something that you shouldn't say against the black demographic. You don't really get a lot of pushback for it. But if you go against some other demographic or some other community, you catch a lot of flack for it. It was Nigeria. It was the Nigeria team. Okay, thanks. It was the Nigeria team. Yeah, so it was the Nigeria team. They beat the USA, and Stephen A. Smith was just on one, just bothered by it, and didn't offer any apology. But when he said something about the women demographic, the Asian demographic, he almost lost his job. So, and he didn't even say anything bad. He said worse against the Nigerian country and the Nigerian basketball players than what he said about the women. Only thing he said about the women is they shouldn't hit their spouses either. Like, everybody keep their hands to themselves, right? And he made the disclaimer. I'm not saying what Ray Rice did is right. I'm just saying that everyone needs to keep their hand to themselves. And they almost had his head, man. So let's get into this JJ Redick. I'm not gonna open the phone lines up for that Paul Pierce thing. I just thought that was something that y'all wanted to hear that was kind of funny. I just threw out there. But let's get to this JJ Redick thing. So JJ Redick is seriously being discussed as one of the finalists or one of the candidates for the Lakers job. I think his name is being tossed around for the Charlotte Hornets job as well. I don't know how, but yeah, here we are, right? So, and we talked about this before. I think James Borrego, who used to be the head coach of the Charlotte Hornets, who did very well with Charlotte. Now he's in New Orleans as an assistant. I think his name has emerged. I think Sam Cassell's name has emerged as well. But one of these things are not like the other. Like, we got James Borrego with head coaching experience, assistant coaching experience. We got Sam Cassell, who's been an assistant for a long time, and a player in this league that played at a high level as a player on high level teams. Won 2 championships with Hakeem Olajuwon as a rookie and second year player as a starting point guard, or sometimes coming off the bench behind Kenny Smith. But he played starter minutes. Great player. Went on to win another one as a veteran coming off the bench, backing up Rondo with the Boston Celtics. So he left out of this league playing beside some of the greatest players on some of the greatest teams and winning at a high level. He left with 3 rings, right? And then he was a heck of a player as well. Deep playoff runs with Minnesota when he played with Garnett and all of the things. He played with Ray Allen and Big Dog Glenn Robinson in Milwaukee. So this dude has been around George Karl, around Rudy Tomjanovich, around what's my man that coached Minnesota? Flip Saunders might have been a coach when he was there in Minnesota, around Doc Rivers in Boston. So he's been around some coaches as a player, played at a high level, played with great players, deep playoff run, championships, and then he's also been there as an assistant, sitting on the bench with some great coaches as well. So he's a great candidate, just as James Borrego is. And then you get to JJ Redick. Here's a guy who has no coaching experience as an assistant, as a head coach, as a trainer, no front office experience, nothing. He just went to talk on a podcast, and the way he talked was so impressive to someone that someone thought that he deserves a head coaching job. Forget assistant, go right into a head coaching job. I think that's hilarious. But here's a clip of them talking about it.
Games. Look at it. Look at this.
After firing Darvin Ham, what names are you hearing that are sort of circling this position out west?
Gary, the Lakers are going to start ramping up that search here in Chicago at the draft combine this week. They'll start calling teams for coaches who are under contract, assistant coaches, asking for permission. And then perhaps some coaches who aren't under contract with teams. A couple of names to watch in this search. James Borrego, the top assistant in New Orleans. They went from offense at 21-22 in the league last year to a top 10 offense. Really found peak performance for Zion Williamson, handling the ball, kind of playing that point forward position. And Borrego had a good run as head coach in Charlotte, went from 33 to 43 wins there. Obviously, was with Greg Popovich for a long time in San Antonio. He'll be a candidate in this process. Another candidate is someone who hasn't coached, and that's our colleague here at ESPN, JJ Redick. He is certainly somebody that the Lakers are drilling down on. They're making calls, and they're trying to get a sense of what a head coach JJ Redick would look like. But this is going to be a long search. They're going to talk to a lot of candidates. And so I don't expect this process to go quickly. One more.
So that's Woj talking about what he's hearing. They're saying they go wrap up this coaching search pretty soon. And those were a couple of the names that was out there, Borrego and JJ Redick. I'm quite sure JJ Redick is going to get that job. I don't think LeBron would sign off on James Borrego. Let me tell you something about Borrego when he was in Charlotte. They drafted LaMelo Ball. What number did he go? Number 2, maybe number 3. Who was in that draft with LaMelo? Was it Wiseman and Edwards and LaMelo? And I think Edwards went 1 to Minnesota. I think James went number 2 to the Warriors, and then and Melo went number 3. So Charlotte gets the number 3 pick, drafts Melo, and Borrego's the coach, and Borrego is not even starting him. He's not starting him, and he's benching him in the fourth quarter. I think they might have had Ish Smith that was playing the fourth quarters, and when they was asking him, why are you benching your star number 1, your first round pick like this? And he said the turnovers and defense. And it's the same thing that Mike Malone did with Michael Porter Jr. when he first got in Denver, and the same thing he did with Bobo. He wouldn't play neither one of them dudes. And it was like a back and forth between Michael Porter Jr. and Mike Malone. I want to say their first playoff run, maybe in the bubble, when they was having some issues, and Mike Malone was like, "No, I'm not playing him. He didn't crash the boards on he didn't crash the boards. He wasn't rebounding." So they coach hard. Mike Malone and Borrego, they come from the same type of coaching tree. I think Borrego coached under Popovich, so he's a tough coach, no nonsense type of coach, and they love defense, So imagine that type of dude coming. This is the same type of dude that David Blatt was in Cleveland, and that's what LeBron did not like about David Blatt. Mind you, David Blatt got there in his first year. They went to the finals and they lost to the Warriors. And they didn't have Kevin Love or Kyrie Irving. They only had Kyrie Irving for 1 game in the finals. They didn't have Kevin Love for any game in the finals, right? They lost Kevin Love, I want to say, in the second round to a shoulder injury. So they played the conference finals without Love, made it to the finals, and then they lost Kyrie the first game, and then LeBron had to do it by himself with Dellavedova, and they still end up getting 2 games out of it, I think. This is David Blatt. And this is the coach you wanted to fire. He got you to the finals. And then you had the number 1 record in the East the next year before the All-Star break. And y'all fired him. The issue with David Blatt, we seen that was visibly tension between him and LeBron, kind of like how you seen it between LeBron and Darvin Ham. There was tension. You could see it, you could sense it, and sometimes it'll come out in the post games, right? Same thing with Darvin Ham. Same when they asked Anthony Davis, why did y'all lose this game? And he said, man, we don't even know what we're doing out there sometimes. That's a direct shot at the head coach, right? You can't say things like that. James Borrego is a coach that is kind of like that. He's a no-nonsense guy. He's not going to come in and let LeBron run it, right? That's my opinion. So I don't see how it's even possible that LeBron signs off on it. I just don't see it. LeBron wants to handpick the guy, which is funny because I thought he handpicked Ham. I thought he signed off on the Ham thing. All this is weird, man. You signing off on guys and all of a sudden you don't want them, man. But it's very weird. And no, I don't think Phil Jackson is a good candidate. He didn't even want to coach the Knicks, man. He said that after his hip surgery, he just couldn't travel with the team, right? And all that stuff. Even being the president of the Knicks, he wouldn't go to away games, right? So it'll never be Phil will probably never coach again. He'll never coach again. So it won't be Phil for sure. But back to JJ Redick, the fact that he's even a candidate is very odd. He has no experience. I don't even think he is that good of a leader. I don't think he can be a leader of men. People think he's an X's and O's genius. I don't. He's an analytic believer, right? He's going to make decisions based off analytics. That's going to get you in a lot of trouble, right? He's going to be a poor man's D'Antoni, right? So Doc Rivers has had his issues with JJ Redick because JJ Redick has been very critical of him, especially this past season, where he had some very harsh words to say about Doc Rivers. And Doc Rivers was on Stephen A. Smith's show, and he was asked about it. And he was asked about him as a coach as well. And this is what he said.
There, JJ Redick was on the record getting on you pretty adamantly about some of the things that you were saying once you ultimately ended up in Milwaukee and talked about passing the buck or whatever. Did you two ever talk about that? Did you ever resolve that with one another?
No. JJ's had a problem with me for a while, and that's fine. Players do. One thing when you coach, Stephen A., you can be called a player's coach or whatever you want to be called. But if you make decisions that the player doesn't agree with, in JJ's case, we didn't sign him back. With the Clippers, I stopped playing him as much because he wasn't very effective in the playoffs. And, that's all known. But I'm fine with that. Like, usually they all come back to you. They do. Because they know everything you tried to teach them or do for them was in good. JJ Redick's best numbers of his career was under one coach, and you're looking at him right here. I'm the one that grabbed him out of Milwaukee and decided to start him. From that point on, his career took off. All the movement plays, everything. First play of the game, every game. When we played with the Clippers, you would have coaches and teams come up to you and say, you're not going to score on that first play with JJ. And I would always say, just watch us. We're going to figure it out. So overall, nothing but love for JJ. Obviously, there's things he doesn't like, and I have no issues with him.
How do you feel about the thought of him being a head coach in the NBA? Because that's what the rumors are saying, that ultimately he's going to be a head coaching candidate. They've mentioned him in Charlotte. They've mentioned him with the Los Angeles Lakers. That's to just mention two teams. How do you feel about that, knowing what you know about him as a basketball mind and now a basketball commentator?
Well, he has a great mind. He really does. And listen, that's how I got it. I went into commentating and got a head coaching job. So I personally, I really hope he gets the job, because then he'll understand some of the things that he has a problem with me and other coaches that you hear on this podcast. He'll realize not as easy as you think. And some of these decisions that you have to make are brutal. Me and Pat Riley, and it's in one of the books, we had a drag out fight, like an argument in Pat Riley's office.
Right.
Jeff Van Gundy and Dick Harder used to tell a story that they was standing at the door because they thought they were going to have to come in.
This is when you were a member of the New York Knicks. When you were a member of the New York Knicks. When Pat Riley was coaching the Knicks. Yes.
Yeah, we had a crazy argument. And then I decided I was going to coach 5 years later. And it took me about 2 years. I remember calling Pat Riley and said, Coach, I'm sorry for that argument. I see now what you saw, but I didn't see it then. And I think a lot of players who get in this business find that out.
I agree with that. So let's talk about what he said at the beginning. He said that JJ Redick had an issue with him, but he also said that I don't know why he got such an issue. Like, yeah, I benched him in the playoffs because I wasn't getting production out of him. However, JJ Redick made the most money because of me. JJ Redick became a starter because of me when I brought him to the Clippers. And he said he drew up a lot of plays for JJ Redick. He got a lot of shots under him. It was just that he wasn't effective in the playoffs. And it is what it is, man. It happens, right? So he might have an issue with him. I remember Paul George saying he had an issue playing with Doc because Doc was only calling pin down plays for him. And he was like, man, I can do so much more. And that's when they brought in Ty Lue. They fired Doc and got Ty Lue in there. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes you're not going to have the best rapport with your coach, man. I remember playing for a coach and I don't know if if sometimes he watched the show, right? So, but when I was in Virginia, I played on some teams for Coach Page, and he claimed I was his favorite point guard, but I can't tell because whenever we had big men on the squad, me and him would get into it a lot because I like to score, I like to pass as well. But sometimes I feel like, man, if I can get that bucket, I'm gonna go get that bucket. And I remember having drag out arguments about him because sometimes there'd be a big man right there in the post, and I drive and go get the bucket. Or what I'm saying, I take shots, man. So I didn't always dump it down like he wanted me to. So that was just his coaching philosophy. He would rather you dump it down to the big man to get him the opportunity. But I feel like, and I'm not talking about like us in the half court. I'm talking about like me coming downhill with a head full of steam on a fast break. I feel like once I pick up that speed, I can get to the hole and get something, right? But it was a couple of times where I'm driving and the lane is open, but my big man will jump right in there and post up. I'm like, hell no, I'm not about to throw the ball. I already got a head full of steam and there's nobody in front of me. I'm taking it. But he wanted me to dump it down, right? That I don't have an issue with him personally. But me and him had a disagreement on what we should have done in that moment, right? And sometimes it happened. It looked like JJ Redick didn't like the fact that he was benched in the playoffs. But Doc Rivers, from what he's seen as a coach, you're not effective. You're not a great defender. He was older, and all you can do is shoot. I needed something else at that time, especially if somebody's guarding you and giving you a lot of attention on defense and locking you up. It takes too much for me to actually get you a shot. Nah, I'm gonna go somewhere else, right? So JJ Redick can't be mad at that. Well, you can be mad at it, but at the same time, like, don't take it out on him. And the first opportunity you get on national TV to go at him, you go at him because you got a personal vendetta against him, right? And that's what it sounds like is going on between him and Doc. And Doc was like, look, man, if you really break it down, and his son said the same thing. He was like, man, you made a lot of money because my dad had faith in you, So JJ Redick made money. He got long-term contracts with the Clippers. He got a starting role. He didn't start nowhere else where he was at. He didn't start in New Orleans. He didn't start in Orlando when it was in the finals. Michael Petrie was the starter, right? He came off the bench. So even in his youth, in his prime, JJ Redick didn't start. But Doc Rivers seen something in you and brought you into the Clippers as a starter. It's very weird that you have an issue with that dude, right? So then toward the end, he said, look, man, I'm all for him getting the opportunity as a coach. That's how I got my opportunity. I went away as a player. I started commentating, and then I got an opportunity in Orlando, I think, and he took it. And he was like, it looked like JJ Redick's getting an opportunity straight from the commentator's bench, right? He said, hey, look, I ain't got nothing against it. That's how I got my start, right? So he gave him a nod for that. He said it was a great mind as well. It's kind of hard to play 10 plus years and not be a great mind, like, unless you just illiterate or dumb or something like that. But if you do something as a profession, I expect for you to have a great mind, right? Does that translate to coaching? Well, that's yet to be seen, right? But you can have a great mind. He didn't say he was a great candidate for a coach. He just said, yeah, he got a great mind. He's a smart guy. Yeah, sure. Yeah, he's got a great mind, right? So he said he got a great mind. He said, hey, it's good. It's more power to him of getting the opportunity. But I think some of the things he got issues with me about, he's going to realize once he becomes a coach, he's probably going to come back and call me and say, I get it now. And he said a lot of that happens a lot of time. He said it happened to him with his knockdown, drag out fights he used to have with Pat Riley. Once he started coaching, I get it now, right? I get it, right? And that happens a lot. And JJ Redick might get this head coaching job. He might not, but if he gets it, I think it's gonna be really fast when he started to realize, yeah, I might have been a little too hard on Doc Rivers, and he gonna come with that apology, man. So not gonna open the file lines up on this one as well, but I will on this topic. So Nikola Jokic and the MVP, right? So oh man, so we covered this on Friday with the full panel. So it goes with Shaq. It goes with Shaq saying that he think SGA deserved the MVP. He gave his reasons why. I don't think his reasons why was that strong, but that don't mean he was wrong in his assessment. It was just that he just couldn't articulate it well. And a lot of people don't sit down and really think this thing through and come up with a criteria for awards in their head. But for a player like Shaq, he knows when he sees it. He just can't verbalize it. So what he was trying to say why SGA deserved the MVP, it wasn't connecting, right? But I know where he's coming from. And because I agree with him, I think SGA deserved it. But what I want to highlight in this segment is that the back and forth that he had with Ernie Johnson. And Ernie Johnson was obviously annoyed that Shaq would even bring that up at the time when they announced the MVP, and that he would say Jokic didn't deserve it. I'm gonna play for you what that sounded like, and then I'll come back with my comments here.
Based on everybody's criteria, my criteria, stat stuffer, you guys' criteria, number one seed, which team has a better record. I felt Shai Alexander deserved it because I've been number two a lot. When I played my ass off, number two. So the fact that he has to start all over next year and try to win it again, I think it was. I know it's going to be hurtful for him. Hopefully he uses this to motivate him to win a championship. But I thought, and again, no disrespect to the Joker, best big man in the league by far. You could have went this way, but I thought Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, one of only a few players that had 30 points 50 times, stat stuffer, great season. His team is number one. Nobody expect him to be number one. I thought Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was going to win it by far. But congratulations to Joker. I'm happy for him. Third-time MVP. You really can't be mad at this vote. But the fact that he has to start all over next year and win it over again. Because, again, I felt I was robbed 2 or 3 times, right? And I played my ass off. Stat stuffer, won championships those years. But, again, no disrespect to the Joker. But me personally, I would have gave it to Shai.
You keep throwing stat stuffer out there.
No, because that's my criteria for MVP.
Nikola Jokic not stuff the stat sheet?
Yeah, but not like Shai.
Really?
Shai is one of the few players that had 30 points in 50 games, Ernie.
Well, but when you're talking about stuff in the stat sheet, look at all the triple doubles for Nikola Jokic and look at his ranks in scoring, rebounding, and assists. I don't think stat stuffing is an argument.
Okay, but even doing all that, OKC was the number one.
They had
only by one game.
They had identical records. It was a division record tiebreaker. That was the separating factor.
All this is subjective. Man.
Yeah, it is. Well, and you're certainly entitled to. If you can make a case for any of those three to make it, and in addition to a few other ones.
Actually, I thought you could have made. And I've said it before, and I just said I thought you could have made a case for 5 guys.
Sure, without question.
Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson. I thought anybody voted for one of those 5. I would have been like, okay, I can understand that. Because every year, idiots get on TV and talk about who's the best player. It never goes to the best player. It goes who had the best regular season. Shaq said he got robbed.
Not every year it doesn't.
Well, most of the time. It goes to the guy. Yeah. So, Shaq said he got robbed. I don't know if he got robbed.
I got robbed because I was the baddest mofo.
Let's talk about now.
It doesn't go to the best player. It goes to the guy who had the best regular season.
Well, you know what? Don't name him most valuable player then. Don't name him most valuable player then. It goes to the most valuable player in the league. That was me.
It does
most
not.
Valuable player in the league. That's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Well, don't name it that then.
Let's stick to
it's subjective.
Let's stick to this year. Let me give you the results, by the way. because it really wasn't close.
Ernie, he classless for this.
Now that's surprising.
First place votes, 79 for Joker, 15 for SGA, 4 for Luka, 1 for Giannis.
None for Bronson?
No. Total votes, total points, 926 for Joker, 640 for SGA, 566 for Luka. So it's Joker, SGA, and Luka Doncic, 1, 2, 3.
I think that whole segment was funny, man. I'm gonna get to the part where I think that I want to talk about when Shaq said, "Well, don't name it the MVP if it's not the MVP. Don't name it that." I'm gonna get to that part, but I wanna point something out from the perspective that Shaq, Ernie, and Charles is coming from. Right? Notice you didn't hear Kenny talking that much. This is a player who's never even been considered for MVP, so he didn't speak that much. He spoke at the end, but he let them duke it out. So his perspective is a player that, hey, look, man, I don't even know what it is to be an MVP. So, I played with one, but, I'll let y'all have that conversation. Barkley is coming from the perspective of a guy who won one MVP, but he robbed Michael Jordan for the MVP, right? That's why he was like, it don't go to the best player. It goes to whoever had the best year that year. When he got the Phoenix his first year, he got in the best shape of his life. Tubby Tubs like Charles Barkley and, Carmelo and guys like that, they wasn't always in the best shape of their Luka, never been in the best shape of their life. But if they really lock in, they can come in the best shape they've ever been, and they can do it for 1 year when they're really motivated. Shaq did it when he went to Miami, when he was over almost 400 pounds his last year with the Lakers. He wasn't listed at 400 pounds, but on his own podcast, he said that I was 400 pounds in LA. Pat Riley made him lose all that weight when he came to Miami. He was in the best shape of his life. They won the finals that year with D Wade, right? But right after that, he went back to Fat Shaq, right? So they can get motivated and get in the best shape of their life for 1 year. And that's what Barkley did in Phoenix. He got in the best shape of his life. He played the most games. He had his best season. They got to the finals. They lost to the Bulls, right? He got MVP that year, right? A lot of people feel like Jordan should have got it almost every year he was playing. And they feel like he got robbed. They feel like when Karl Malone got it over Jordan 1 year, that Jordan got robbed as well. So Barkley's coming from the perspective of someone who robbed someone from an MVP. And Shaquille O'Neal is coming from the perspective of someone who's only got one MVP, just like Charles Barkley. But he's coming from a perspective where he got robbed multiple times. Steve Nash got him 1 year. Dirk got him 1 year. Duncan, KG. There was a lot of MVPs that was being passed out that Shaq probably could have got. And I don't know why they wasn't giving it to Shaq. Some people would say because he had Kobe as a teammate, but those same people would also say Kobe wasn't that good. They would say Kobe was just hanging on Shaq's coattails. So I don't know how when he was playing at age 22 and 23 and 24 when he played with Shaq, like he was young playing with Shaq. I think Shaq left for Miami. Kobe wasn't even 27 yet. And if you want to, it's just weird that they try to use Kobe in retrospect to say that Shaq shouldn't have got more than one MVP. And then they do the same thing for Kobe. They say the reason why Kobe didn't get MVP is because he played with Shaq. I think it's just very weird, right? When you give two to Nash, right? So Shaq's coming from the perspective of someone who's been robbed, and Barkley's coming from the perspective of someone who's robbed. And then Ernie's coming from the perspective of, listen, man, why you got to talk about the white guy like that? I gotta protect the white guy because I'm the white guy too. You know what I mean? So why are you saying he didn't deserve it? And I think that's the perspective they all three are coming from, right? So but the last part about him saying that don't call it the MVP, I agree with him. If it doesn't really mean most valuable player, and for me, right, and I know I bore y'all with this every time I put it up, but this is really how I feel about it, right? Value is measured on offensive end, and value is measured on the defensive end as well. You don't measure value just on the offense and then act like defense don't exist. Basketball is 50-50 offense and defense, right? So what you do on the offensive end and defensive end has to be measured. So if I'm elite on the offensive end, like SGA is, and I'm also elite on the defensive end, like SGA is, and then you compare me with a guy who's elite on the offensive end and not elite on the defensive end, isn't it quite obvious which one is more valuable or which one is more valuable? If I'm valuable on both ends of the floor, and I'm not saying Jokic is not valuable on defense, but who's more valuable on defense? I think SGA is. I think they both are equally valuable on offense. So I don't like to take it straight to triple-double stats, which what Ernie did. He was like, well, he's stuffing the stat sheets. He's getting triple-doubles. If it's all about who can get a triple-double, then, I mean, what's the point of trying to win? Like, if I'm trying to win and the criteria, not the criteria, but the formula and the offense that my coach designed for us to be in doesn't have me playing triple-double basketball, because triple-double basketball is if I'm the guy who's distributing the ball to everyone and you design an offense with shooters all around me, like Jokic or Luka. Like, Jokic has Michael Porter Jr., shooter, Caldwell Pope, shooter, Jamal Murray, shooter, right? Everybody's a shooter except Aaron Gordon, but even he spreads the floor and hits threes every now and then. Then you come off the bench with guys that can shoot. So, and Aaron Gordon is a slasher, a lob threat, and all this stuff. If you're going to design an offense where your best player is the one that's going to get the assists, but your best player is also the one who's going to be getting most of the shots, and then your best player is also a 7-foot center who's going to be getting rebounds, then you can lock him in for a triple-double almost every night. He's playing triple-double basketball. But if you're going to have a guy like SGA who says, hey, yeah, I'll play point, but I'm going to play off the ball a lot because Giddey is going to be the point guard starting, then we're going to come off the bench with Lou, or not come off the bench, but then we're going to let Lou Dort do it a little bit. And then SGA is going to do a little bit. But I want SGA to do his damage without the ball. I want him to come off screens. I want him to catch and shoot. I want him to get in that mid-range, get in that post. Like the offense that the Thunder run doesn't set him up for triple-doubles. The offense that Luka runs set him up for triple-doubles in a similar way for Jokic. So what the NBA is basically saying ever since Westbrook averaged a triple-double and got MVP, or really, if you can go back further, ever since LeBron James started averaging 28, 7, and 7, close to a triple-double, we fell in love with the triple-double stat itself. And anything close to a triple-double is MVP status for us, right? So what's really going on is they're watching the numbers and the stats and saying, oh, man, he's close to a triple-double. He's got to be in the MVP race, and that's the people who's been getting it. Harden was close to a triple-double, got MVP. Westbrook averaged a triple-double, got MVP. Jokic close to a triple-double, got MVP. Luka plays triple-double basketball, and every year he's the preseason favorite to win MVP because we think that averaging triple-double equals MVP. So the people like Tatum, SGA, Edwards that's playing lockdown defense and scoring at a high level and winning at a high level, because you're looking at Tatum and Celtics, the best record in the league, looking at OKC and SGA, the best record in the West, and you're looking at Minnesota, the third best record in the West, rated top 5 in offense and defense. I think number 1 in defense. So defense matters less than triple-double numbers, right? So the way they vote now for MVP, this triangle that I have with offensive value, defensive value, and team success would be replaced, and it'll just be whoever gets closer to a triple-double. Defense don't matter. Team success don't matter. Luka wasn't even a top 5 team. He wasn't even top 5 in his conference. Well, he was. I think he was number 5. But he was number 8 to number 10 most of the season, and then they made a late surge after the All-Star break, after the trade deadline, to get the number 5, and they barely got the number 5. But in the league, he's not top 5 if you add the East and the West Coast to it. So his team ain't even performing that well. The success is not even really there like it is for the other candidates or the other guys that should have been candidates like Tatum and Edwards, right? So they value the triple-double more than winning, and they value the triple-double more than defense. So you would take defense out of that triangle, you would take winning out of that triangle, and offensive value and triple-double would be the only things that they would consider. Defense and team success is optional. You don't have to have it, according to the media, according to Ernie Johnson, right? So that's my whole gripe with the MVP, is that we think the triple-double is the end-all be-all, and we don't value team success, and we don't value defensive value as well, right? Last thing I say about this before I open the phone lines up, right? SGA was number one in the West record-wise. Now, that record was the exact same as Jokic. They both won 57 games, I think. But he got the number one record because they had the tiebreaker, right? He won the head-to-head battles. So, number one seed in the West, he's got home court advantage throughout the whole playoffs until he gets to the finals. If they meet Boston in the finals, if they meet someone else in the finals, then they have home court advantage. But that's important. Number one seed in the playoffs, right? His team was number 3 in offensive rating. So that means what I did on offense led to my team being a number 3 rated offense in the league. I think Denver was below that at like number 6, right? So which is really high. They both top 10, but we're talking about most valuable player. So most valuable means if I rank higher is what, if what I'm doing on offense rank my team higher than yours, then I'm more valuable than you are, because the end result is better. So number 3 versus number 6 in offensive rating. Then you look at the defensive rating. His team, and we know SGA is a defensive specialist as well. So what he did on defense has also led his team to being number 4 rated defense in the league. So not only did I secure the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, I also led my team to a number 3 rated offense and a number 4 rated defense. I don't even think Denver's top 10 in defense. So what I'm doing on defense is valuable to my team, and the results of that is a number 4 rating. What I do on offense is valuable to my team. The results of that is a number 3 rating. And as a result of all of that, we secured the number 1 seed in the whole West. That's better than everything that Jokic have done. You can't go and say that only because he's averaging close to a triple-double, that means he deserves the MVP over SGA. What are we even thinking about? Like, what do we think most valuable player is? So I'm with Shaq. We should get rid of the most, well, not get rid of the most valuable player, but if we want to just observe offensive stats, triple-double stats, then we need to have the Offensive Player of the Year award, just like we had the Defensive Player of the Year award. And I think NFL does as well. They have an Offensive Player of the Year award, Defensive Player of the Year award, and they have the MVP. So guys like Luka and Jokic, who are triple-double threats, if you're going to just knock down all the stats and not play no defense, then yeah, give them the Offensive Player of the Year award every year. But for MVP, I need to see you valuable on both ends of the floor, and I need to see that equate to team success as well. And those are the guys who should be in the discussion for MVP, right? So my MVP would have been SGA number 1. I think I would have gave Tatum number 2. I think I would have gave Jokic number 3, and I think that's where it would have been at, right? Luka wouldn't have been number 4. Number 4, it would have been either between Edwards or Brunson, right? But I would have Luka at number 3 for sure. Not Luka, but Jokic number 3 for sure. But Tatum and SGA, those were the top dogs for me. Now I'm gonna open the phone lines up, man, because I want to hear what y'all think about the MVP award and everything that I said about it and everything that Ernie Johnson and Shaq said about it, man. Phone lines are open, man. Y'all can call in. We got one more topic after this, and then we'll end it. I think we'll be done before 2 hours, man. I think I did good on time. Phone lines open. Would you just say get rid of the scoring title then? Nah, keep the scoring title. Keep the scoring title. That's prestigious. So that's more awards. Luka got the scoring title this year. It would have been Embiid if he didn't get hurt. Embiid probably would have got the scoring title and MVP this year if he didn't get hurt. But Luka got the scoring title. Offensive player of the year, it would have been between Jokic, Luka, and probably who would be number 3? It wouldn't be Edwards. It wouldn't be Tatum. SGA averaged 30, but his assist wasn't that high. I don't know. So number 3 probably would have been between SGA and Brunson. But 1 and 2 definitely would have been Jokic and Luka. I would have voted Luka for Offensive Player of the Year. His stats was unreal, right? So Luka for Offensive Player of the Year. So Luka would have got the scoring title and Offensive Player of the Year, and MVP would have went to SGA. That's how I would have done it. Crazy how defense and team success is ignored for the MVP. Analytic nerds ruined the NBA. I agree 100%. Like, they don't even consider it. Like, even when you heard Shaq trying to make a case for SGA, he didn't even remember to mention defense. Like, we've been so conditioned so long to just go with the stats and the analytics and the triple-double threats and all that stuff. We don't even mention defense anymore. It's not like it's very easy to just ignore. And they don't even bring it up no more. And then team success will be next. Like, they mentioned team success a little bit now, but that's gonna be the next thing that's out the window. So yeah, that's a good point. Brunson in my top 3 because of what he did with the Knicks after Redick got hurt. Sure, a lot of people got Brunson high now, but I can't ignore what Tatum and Edwards did. Can't ignore that. But the Knicks being a number 2 seed, yeah, I can see that. I can see him over Luka. So like I said, it would have been SGA, Tatum, Jokic, Edwards, and then Brunson, and then probably Luka 6. But once they narrow it down to the top 3, I don't even know how Giannis got a vote. Giannis got 1 vote for first place. So that's very weird. Yeah, you can make an argument Duncan should have won more. And I remember the year that J Kidd 2 years in a row got his team to the conference finals, and 1 year they went to the finals. J Kidd was on one. I don't even think he was even in the discussion. I remember the year, and the year that everyone said that Kobe should have won it over Nash. I disagree. I think Chauncey Billups should have got it over Kobe and Nash. Now, Kobe was averaging over 30 points, like 34 points a game, but his team was like in the number 5 or number 6 seed in the West. I can't go for that. I can't get an MVP to a number 5 seed. I don't care how bad your team was. But Nash got it that year. But the reason why they got it is because they did process of elimination. They eliminated Kobe for having not having a top seed in the West, being number 5 or number 6, and then they eliminated Chauncey Billups by saying that he had too much help with Rashid, Ben, Rip, and Tayshaun. So they was like, Billups, which is the same thing they did for Tatum this year. You're number 1 seed, but your team is stacked. You know what I'm saying? You got White, Holiday, Porzingis, Brown. So that was like, Tatum, I don't care how good you got. Like, this dude won 65 games this year. Nobody else won 60. The closest to 60 was the 57 that OKC and Denver got. But they the talk for Tatum was that now your team's too good. You got too many good players, so we can't even talk about you. Yeah, you're playing great defense, great offense, you're rebounding great, and your team got the best record in the league. But he wasn't even a top 5 candidate. Like Tatum, as a matter of fact, let me look at the votes. I think I got it unless I deleted it. Let me see this. Oh man, I deleted it. But yeah, I think the top 5 candidates was 79 first place votes for Jokic, 15 first place votes for SGA, around 5 for Luka, so that's 3. Number 4 was Giannis with 1 first place vote. So nobody else got first place votes. It was only 4 people that got first place votes. Number 5 was not even Tatum. I think number 5 might have been Brunson. So they didn't. So Tatum wasn't even in the top 5. They just totally dismissed him. That's the same thing they did to Billups the year that Nash won. They said, Billups, your team's too good. You got too much help. You can't be considered. But the first MVP that Nash got, he averaged about 15 assists. About 15 points, 10 assists, and his team won about 63 games, right? Then the next year, Chauncey Billups averaged more points, more assists, and his team got more wins. And they told him, we can't vote for you because your team's too good. And they gave it to Nash again. So Billups was the real person they got robbed, because the year that he deserved it, his team was number 1 in the league, just like Jason Tatum. Like this junk is crazy, man. The way they do this, and I think the NBA, well, I'm not gonna say the NBA, but I think the media likes it this way, because if there's no real criteria on what we're voting for, we get to change it every year, and whatever story we want to paint, we can make it real to vote for anybody. We can snub anybody or anything. There's no real criteria, right? But lately the criteria is whoever gets closer to a triple double. If you get close to a triple double and your team happen to be successful, we can justify it. The only reason why Luka's not getting that many first place votes is because his team hasn't finished in top 2, top 3, number 1, and nothing like that, right? But as soon as Luka and Dallas get top 3 finish in the West, he's going to get MVP. That's all they're waiting on. But that wasn't good enough for SGA, Tatum, or Edwards, right? It's just not good enough for them. Playing defense is not good enough, right? Triple doubles is the only thing we respect when it comes to MVP. And I think that needs to change. I think offensive player of the year is in order and all that stuff. I ain't get no call-ins, man. I thought y'all would like this topic. No call-ins on this topic. All right, let's go to the last topic then. And this segment is brought to you by this new podcast that my friend Jay is on, and that he runs and that he hosts with a panel of other members. Look, I've been drinking a little bit, man, so if I'm slurring my words, man, I apologize. But Therapeutic Rap, y'all go and subscribe to them on YouTube. Y'all can find them on Facebook and follow them as well. I think it's Therapeutic Rap 189 on YouTube. Go check them out. They're going to start going live tomorrow at 9:00 Eastern time, right? So if y'all want to be part of a live show, this is not a sports show. This show is relationships. This show is life. This show is everything other than sports, right? So once you get in there and you're listening to that panel speak, it's going to be a lot of conversation that's good, helpful, unique, and therapeutic, right? So those conversations are going to be deep. I'm going to be on that live show tomorrow. I'm definitely going to call in. They got a good topic waiting for us tomorrow on the live show, man. So hopefully y'all go over there and head over there and get them a sub, just like y'all supporting us over here, man. Down, go do the same thing over there at Therapeutic Rap. Give them a sub and then be part of the live show tomorrow and call in, man. I think it's gonna be a good, really, really, really good show tomorrow. But yeah, so let's get into this topic. This will be the last topic, man. I open the phone lines up, and y'all don't have to just call in for this topic. Anything that we covered today is going to be open game. But Austin Rivers and James Jones, hilarious, right? I don't know if y'all caught the back and forth, but it started with Austin Rivers making the claim on, I think he's on ESPN, and he made the claim that there are a lot. He said he think there's about 30 NBA players that probably could get to the NFL and play football and be good. And why that's not really a crazy take is because we've seen it. We've seen Antonio Gates play college basketball and not make it to the NBA and just go to the NFL and become a Hall of Fame tight end. We've seen Tony Gonzalez do the same thing. We've seen Julius Peppers. Well, Julius Peppers was always a football player that played basketball, right? But Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, those are the poster boys for the guys who wanted to make the NBA, who had real hoop dreams that wasn't good enough to get to the NBA, and they just went to the NFL and became the best tight ends that we've ever seen. Like these dudes are on the Mount Rushmore of tight ends. Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates are unstoppable, right? And they play basketball all throughout college, no football. And right now we have a guy that played for NC State named Burns. Really good guy, about 6'8", got a big body, and put you in the mind frame of a bigger Zach Randolph. He's left-handed. He's got a lot of good low post game, and I think another guy that's kind of like that is Kenny Lofton Jr. Right, that he's like that, but he's bigger than Kenny Lofton. I think Kenny Lofton's about 6'6". This guy's 6'8", legitly, right? So, but yeah, when you're athletic, when you're big, when you got good footwork and all that stuff, it don't take much for you to say, you know what, basketball didn't work out for me. Let me try football, and then it works out, because the things that you need in football, okay, you need strength, you need speed, you need athleticism, you need footwork, and then everything else is just you learning the nuances of the game or whatever position you choose. Right. So it's not a bad take for Austin Rivers to say that, but a lot of football players, past, present, and ones that play now, they was offended by it, and they came and attacked Austin Rivers. And Austin Rivers never said that he could play in the NFL. He said that he think there's about 30 NBA players who could. Right. So James Jones came back and started attacking Austin Rivers and saying his career was short-lived and he was a lottery pick that didn't turn out to be a superstar. He only played 11 years and all this crazy stuff. And, he was going in on him and said, hey, look, man, I did this and that in the NFL and blah, 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 blah. And they're just missing the point, right? Well, I'm going to play for you Austin Rivers responding one last time to James Jones, and he undressed this man like a stripper, man. This is what he said.
James Jones. I saw your comments. I'm going to make this video. This is my last response with you, man. And then quite frankly, I'm done with this. I just don't have time for the shenanigans with you, man. I don't even know who you are. So this is kind of silly. We're only here in the first place because you got offended that I said there are NBA players, a handful of NBA players that could make the transfer over to the NFL at the tight end wide receiver spot. I still stand by that. We have 6'10", 6'11", 6'9", supersonic athletes that have 40-inch verticals and can catch. It's not crazy for me to believe that. I think they can make the transfer over to the NFL at that position, especially when we're talking about the likes of like a LeBron James, a Zion Williams, a prime D Rose, or Westbrook, or a Ja Moran, an Aaron Gordon, Suggs, Lou Dort, whatever the case. I think we have a handful of guys I do believe can make that transfer over. That's why some of the best tight ends in your sport are guys who played college basketball once upon a time and weren't going too far in that field, so they decided to make the switch to football and ended up becoming legends. Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Jimmy Graham, just to name a few. So for you to be offended by that, that's on you. The truth hurts. And then to take it a step further and to try to come at me personally and talk about, well, you could never play in the NFL. I never said I could. And then for you to try to come on my career, which has nothing to do with my comments, is kind of silly. And it's even more silly coming from you, considering you were a role player as well in your career, and nothing supersonic about your NFL career stands out for real, for real. So let's just calm down. If you want to talk about numbers, there's a glaring difference between you and me in one regard. And we both know what that is, but I'm not a tacky guy, so I don't really want to talk finance, especially with a guy that I out-earned. I think your whole career earnings was like 1 year of mine. So
sheesh.
It's just silly for us to even debate or talk. Let's just keep it P and keep pushing. Your comments on trying to make fun of me for my NBA career because I was a role player, like, brother, that's pretty dope, man. I played 11 years in the league. I was privileged to make really, really good money and play for all these dope cities and teams while living out my dreams. I didn't know that was something to be made fun of while also being a lottery pick, which leads me to my next, your other comment on why I was a lottery pick. Why would a team draft me lottery, bro? Just because my dad coaches a completely different other team. It makes zero sense. But, you're an idiot, and I can't blame you for thinking what you think. I was a lottery pick because 2 years prior I was the #1 player in America. That's why you see like the Naismith Trophy and a bunch of other trophies hanging around here. The year after that, I led Duke University in scoring as a freshman. It was ACC Freshman Player of the Year and also ACC All-First Team. And then I also led FIBA 18 and 19s to a gold medal. And we had led that team in scoring, by the way, and we had players like Kyrie Irving and other supersonic talents on that team. So, yeah, that might have something to do with why I was drafted in the lottery, bro. if there was any nepotism in sports, you'd see the greatest players of all times, kids in the NBA, but you don't. You'd see team presidents, team owners, team GMs, kids in the NBA, but you don't, because it's incredibly hard to make the NBA. So trying to like throw out some like clickbait BS like such as yourself, I don't understand where you're getting off, but I'm not going to respond with stats about you. I don't know anything about you. I don't know you from Timbuktu. I only know James Jones, like the real James Jones, like everyone else knows. It's got to be hard not even dominating your own name. I hate that we're here, but sometimes you have to pick a booger. So here I am with you. Bro, just keep doing your protein shakes. You got your little show. You're doing your stuff. Keep doing your little hot takes. I'm done with you. I don't have time for this, quite frankly. Man, just keep it pushing, bro. You have a good one, man.
Bro, when he said James Jones, the real one, right? The real one is the James Jones is the GM of the Phoenix Suns now, who used to play alongside LeBron in Cleveland. He was a shooter, 6'8" shooter that played for Miami in college, played for Miami and Cleveland with LeBron. He's a shooter. But for him to say that James Jones that played in the NBA is the real one and not James Jones that played in the NFL, I thought that was funny, man. Then he took a shot at, he was like, look, man, I only want to get into the money, man. I think your career earnings was 1 year of mine. The NBA do be getting the bag. Somebody said that in the comment section. The NBA does get the bag. Yeah. Austin Rivers just getting drafted in the lottery already gave him a bag, right? And to play 11 years and get contracts, he got the bag. He's well off, right? So he said, I ain't even gonna go there, because that's too easy for me to win that debate, right? He really did take him down, man. He really did. I think that should end it. Like, if I'm James Jones, I'm not coming back from that. You gotta leave that alone, right? He ethers you, right? But let's get into the conversation of what started all of this, right? All he said was that 30 guys in the NBA, right, could play in the NFL, and as far as what they're capable of athletically, I think he's right. Now, as far as what they're capable of in their mentality, do they want to hit like that every play? Do they want to get hit like that every play? Right? Do they want to go through that type of grind? Because being accustomed to basketball contact where you get a foul for anybody doing anything that's legal on the NFL field, doing it on the basketball court, you get a whistle for it, you get a foul. Right. So having to deal with all of that, I don't know if all basketball players want to do that. Like, I don't know if you ever seen that drill. We used to call it the bull ring. I don't know what they call it now. But you get in that circle, and it'd be one guy in the middle of the circle, like, saying, just standing there ready, and the coach will blow the whistle and call a number out, and whatever number he calls out has to run full speed, and you have to be ready to hit that guy, right? Or the drill where you lay down on the ground, both of y'all laying flat on your back, and you blow the whistle, and both of y'all got to get up and then run and hit each other, right? It's a joke saying that those two drills have made more basketball players than AAU, right? So what they're saying is, yeah, once basketball players or once athletes get in that drill and have to go through that type of thing, they quickly realize, yeah, I'd rather play basketball, right? Let me get to these super chats, man. Susling Quivalent. LaQueen super era is the worst in history. Throw up emoji. And then Roland Curtis making the NBA seems less possible than NFL. Yeah. I think the NBA got less than 400 players. It's only 400 spots. And you think about all the college teams, it's a lot of people fighting for that spot, right? So the guys that are super and uber athletes playing basketball, let's take a Russell Westbrook, for instance. Oklahoma drill, yeah. The Oklahoma, I think, is the one where you laying down on your back. That's Oklahoma, yeah. And then I don't know what the one where you get in the circle, but we called it the bull ring back in the day. I don't know what they call it now. I don't think the bull ring legal no more. I think Oklahoma might be the only one that they doing. But yeah, what Rivers was talking about, he's like, look, we got guys that they're 6'5", like a PJ Tucker that's 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", who's a bench player at or a role player at best, possibly can start because he don't have the high skill set as far as dribbling the ball. He had to develop shooting, but just him being a tough guy got him a spot on the basketball court. But his skill set is not high enough for him to be a Durant or a great player, like a Pat Beverly as well. Like, I have to come out here and hustle and play defense and do things other people don't want to do to make teams. But he's very good at basketball. Like Pat Beverly averaged 35 points in high school. Like this dude was a baller who turned into a defensive specialist in the league. That lets you know how skilled these basketball players are at their craft, right? But a guy like PJ Tucker or Patrick Beverly with that mindset and that hustle, if they didn't make it in the league and they wanted to go and play football, I think they could do it, right? Because all it takes is a mindset. If you want to play safety, that's cool. Look, PJ Tucker's 6'7". Like, I don't think no one in the NBA, in the NFL has been taller than 6'9" or 6'8". I think, and that's an offensive lineman. You got a 6'8", big 300-pound offensive lineman, right? 6'8" is just normal in the NBA. And we're talking about 6'8" lean with no body fat. Have you seen Kawhi at 6'8"? No body fat. Have you seen LeBron at 6'8"? Right? So 6'8" is the biggest you get in the NFL, and those guys are 300-pound linemen that blocks for a living. What are you going to do with a 6'8" LeBron? Put him at tight end. Who gonna stop that? If LeBron is up for the contact, who's going to stop LeBron? We've never seen LeBron injured, so I know he can take the pound and no diddy. Only thing I've seen LeBron ever sustain is ankle twists. Forget all the flopping to him, pretend like he's hurt. Ankle twist is the only thing he really had, and when he twists his ankle, he just rub some dirt on it and go back and play and tie his shoe up tighter. LeBron at tight end would be better than Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates was fat his whole career. LeBron at tight end with that speed. And Tony Gonzalez was not as fat as Tony Gates, but he wasn't fast. He wasn't super fast. He wasn't fast like Shannon Sharp. So honestly, I think LeBron James at worst would be Shannon Sharp in the league. And Shannon Sharp can't play no basketball. If LeBron wanted to be a quarterback, he would be no less than Cam Newton. No less than Cam Newton. Don't nobody even want to take a charge from LeBron James. Imagine him with them pads on. Coming out of the backfield after he done pump fake 6 times and then took off running with that 4.3 speed. Come on, man. Like Charlie Ward, people think he's a football player. Sure, yeah, you can say he's a football player, but he really was a basketball player. He went pro and played multiple years with the Knicks and other teams at a high level. He was a real point guard at Florida State and the New York Knicks. Happened to play football as well. Basketball players are some of the best athletes out there. They can play multiple things. Right. So when we really look at a guy like Charlie Ward, we're looking at a basketball player that also played football. Right. He's not a football player that went pro and played basketball. He's a basketball player that also played football. Ronald Curry. I think Ronald Curry was more of a football player. And he was good at basketball, but he wasn't that good. He didn't go pro. But that's what happens. If you're a basketball player and you're not good enough to go pro, you can always fall back on going to the NFL. And that's what Ronald Curry did. He fell back on the NFL and he wasn't big enough or tall enough to play quarterback, which is what his position was in college. So he went to the NFL and played defensive back. Or did he play receiver? I think Ronald Curry might have tried a couple of positions. I think receiver might have been one of them. I don't know if they tried him at DB, but he didn't last in the league long. Right. So yeah, football players are dope, but basketball players are the best athletes we've ever seen, man. I open the phone lines up for y'all comments. Y'all can call in. Any topic is open. And then if I take 2 or 3 calls, and if I don't get no calls, I end the show, and I see y'all on Full Panel Friday, or I see y'all tomorrow on the live show with Therapeutic Rap, man. It'll be a dope conversation, man. Be there. Meet me there. Or beat me there. Either way. I might be sipping for that show too. So you don't know what's gonna come out. I might even get on the panel tomorrow. I might even get on the panel. It depends on if how much crown I got left. But I might get on the panel tomorrow, and if I get on the panel, man, y'all gonna want to see that. I promise you that, for real. Y'all gonna want to see that, man. I've been a different element, not talking about sports, just talking about other things, man. But yeah, y'all gonna want to see that for sure. The WNBA started today. If anyone cares, yeah, I care. That's why I was well on the show. I watched the first 3 quarters of the Caitlin Clark Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun. Really good game. I said at the beginning of the show that they was pushing her to her right hand most of the game, and that caused some trouble for them because she likes to go to her left to take a fall away jump shot or fall away threes. But going to the right, she got to figure that out, because going to the right, she don't have a shot that she can go all the way to the rim with the right, but the shot that she really wants, she can't get to when she's getting pushed to her right hand. And a lot of people are seeing that in the finals, in the Final Four, and in the championship game against South Carolina last year of the tournament, right? That was very, very obvious. The girl that was guarding her, I forgot her name, but it was the same girl that when they beat South Carolina last year before they lost to LSU in the finals. It's the girl that couldn't shoot the jump shot well enough, and Caitlin Clark didn't guard her, and she kind of waved her off and just stood there and just didn't guard her. And that was the girl that was defending her in the game this year, and kind of exposed her. I think that was full circle poetic justice. When you talk about how hard it is to make the NBA, it's even harder to make the WNBA. Less spots and less teams. That's true. Because we seen the point guard. I think she played 2 guard, but she was a point guard size for LSU last year, who got in the game and hit crucial 3-pointers in that finals game. Yeah, her last name was Johnson. They played for South Carolina, but this girl, I forgot her name, for LSU, was playing great basketball, got drafted, and before training camp was over, she was cut from the WNBA team. I'm like, this girl was a lottery pick, and she didn't even make her team. She got cut, and the reason why she got cut was because of budget, not because she wasn't good enough. Now, she did also say something. It was kind of weird the way she got cut, because she went on Twitter and said something silly, like, kind of like the veterans can't guard her, something crazy like that. She said something crazy disrespectful, and then 2 days later she was cut. So they said because of budgets, but it was just odd that it happened after she made that comment. Thanks for the super chat. Caitlin Clark broke the record for fourth most turnovers in her debut. Yeah, she had 10 turnovers. She had a double-double, 20 points, 10 turnovers. Terrell Owens and Mosca Hoop, for sure. Now, I seen Terrell Owens play ball in the Celebrity All-Star game twice. And for the athletes that not athletes and entertainers that didn't play in the NBA, the best I've seen with my eyes is Terrell Owens, Brian McKnight, the white guy with the gray hair that was on Obama's cabinet. I can't remember what his position was, but he was with the regime when Obama was president. He was good, but he was old though, really old. But you can tell he was good. So Brian McKnight, Terrell Owens, the guy that worked with Obama, maybe J. Cole, maybe Chris Brown. Those might be my top 5. Master P was pretty good too, but I think those 5 guys are better. Myles Garrett, He can jump. He can dunk. He's big. But I wouldn't say he's not as good as Terrell Owens and Brian McKnight. Brian McKnight can really hoop, bro. I heard R. Kelly was good. I heard Silk the Shocker was good. I'd never seen either one of those play, but I seen Terrell Owens play. I seen Brian McKnight play. I seen Chris Brown and Famous Los, and I seen Steve Urkel play. He was decent. Ocho Cinco cannot play. No, Ocho Cinco can't play. Ocho Cinco cannot play. I'm sorry, man. He can't play, man. But yeah, no phone calls, man. So I go ahead and end the show, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate the call-ins, the comments, all that good stuff. Like I said, man, Wednesday, go on Therapeutic. As soon as we finish this live right here, go to the Therapeutic Rap 189 on YouTube. Find it, subscribe to it, and be ready for tomorrow when we go live with the full panel. And then, of course, come back here on Friday with the full panel for another live, man. So hopefully y'all phone work and y'all ready to call in that day. But y'all didn't call in as much this day, man, which is cool, but you know, it is what it is. But I appreciate y'all, man. I check y'all out on Wednesday and Friday. Peace.